These are the 5 mistakes people make when they start distance learning while in beauty school, whether you're in cosmetology school or aesthetic school, and I'll be sharing tips on how to avoid them. Hey guys, my name is Genevieve Santos-Bann, the 360 Beauty Maven, and I've been an esthetician for close to 7 years now, and I've been an aesthetics instructor for about 2 years. And I help estheticians succeed out of school and launch a career doing exactly what they love. So we've been doing distance learning for about 9 months, ever since the pandemic hit last spring in 2020. And so throughout the last 9 months of teaching online, it was definitely a learning curve for myself in terms of how do I engage with my students, not in the classroom in front of me, but how do I engage with them over the computer. And so over the last 9 months, I noticed the pattern with some students that did well as the pattern with students that didn't do so well. And so I hope that these tips are going to give you some insights into what to expect if you are going to be starting distance learning through your aesthetic school, or if you're already in the trenches and you just want to improve your performance. So here's the first mistake: logging on into class from bed. Okay, or from the couch or your lounge chair, or wearing PJs and just basically looking like you rolled out of bed. And so this is school. You're paying tuition for an education. So not only are your instructors ready and did the work to prepare their lesson, but you should also do the work to prepare yourself for class. So treat this like you were going onto school campus. Get ready, freshen up, take a shower, do your morning meditation, do your regular morning routine in order to just gain some energy for the day. You're about to, whether your schedule is 9 to 5, 9 to 2, or maybe in the evening, so then you had to do work, it just pays to start early, especially if you're balancing a job from home as well. It just pays to wake up early, do what you need to do to energize yourself, have a nutritious breakfast and do all of this before you start class. Set up a school corner in your living quarters, whether that's a desk in your bedroom or a little corner that you have on the dining room table or the living room. Like I said, it's not going to be good. It's not good to basically just log on to Zoom from your phone while you just like have it perched up in bed, because honestly, you're not going to perform. You're literally just going, your energy's not up and you're not going to be engaged with the material. So it just pays to really start your day right, and also have a corner so that you're actually like in an office space or an office corner where you don't have any distractions and you could just focus on school. And so when you're energized and when you have when you just basically perform better. The second mistake is leaving classwork to the last minute. This can look like doing your workbook, especially the Milady's workbook here. Like, definitely pace yourself. If you are meant to work on a chapter for 5 days, so take the workbook number or the pages in that workbook chapter and divide it by 5 days, and give yourself at least 2 to 3 pages or however many pages you need to complete in order to be done with, or you could just get it out the way in one shot. Leaving classwork to the last minute does not help your education, because you're cramming to get things done. You need to get your hours in because there's a certain number of hours that you need to complete with the state, and just leaving that, cramming to do your classwork to meet a deadline, it's just not worth it. It's better for you to pace yourself, divide the number of pages you need to complete by however many days you're going to be working on that chapter, and then just work. Just do the work. The third mistake that I see students make is being on mute and turning off your video. So every school is different, they all have different requirements as to how you're going to be present for class. Some schools just have to have you on Zoom logged in. You don't have to show video or anything. But I personally feel that it's better to just to be visible. Just as you want to see your instructor on video so that you can get to know them and who they are, then your teacher wants to get to know you too. They may be managing 10 to 20 students in a class, but having your video on shows that you're ready and willing to learn. So I'm not saying, you got to look bootleg, with and have just so that you can have your video on. Granted, if you've done your morning routine, taken a shower, refreshened up, at least change into a nice, decent shirt, then you can be able to be presentable in class. Like I said, the more you treat this, the more that you treat distance learning like, an actual classroom, the better you're going to do. This goes into my next tip, which is participating. So you want to participate, and if the teacher asks a question, raise your hand. Don't be afraid to speak up. If you have a question, share it, because other people may be thinking the same thing, but they're afraid to speak up, which goes into my fourth mistake, which is not reading the chapter prior to it being covered during lecture. So you're given a syllabus, you're given the days that you're going to be, working on each chapter. Prepare. Just read the chapter, even if you're just browsing the pages, and just taking some brief notes, and just to make sure that you're actually absorbing the information. The more that you repeat you're being exposed to the material, the more you're going to be able to retain the information. And now onto our fifth mistake, which is basically not taking the time to properly study the material during your off time. So this is, okay, granted, aesthetic school is not college. It's not, it's aesthetic school is hands-on, very interactive. We do a lot of we do a lot of hours doing actual facials. And, if you're in cosmetology school, you're doing a lot of, hands-on hair and other practical, things on your syllabus. But you really have to take the time to digest the theory. Read the chapter prior to the chapter being covered during lecture, but then also, take the time out to really study the information after class. And so depending on your structured day, maybe you have to be on Zoom all day from 9 to 5, so you don't really have time to really do that deep work. I would just suggest budgeting at least 1 to 2 hours after class, if that's the case, to review the work that you did, because it doesn't pay to cram right before an exam. It's better to just really pace yourself with the material, especially if you're in a full-time course, because the full-time course is going to go by very quickly, and before you know it, you're already studying for your state boards, and you're wondering, like, how did I cover all 22 chapters in Milady? You can't avoid the work. You can probably copy, you can copy answers from the textbook, or you can copy answers from another classmate, or look up or just Google all of the answers and then just regurgitate them on paper. But you can't avoid the work that it takes to really retain this information, especially when it comes to your state board, when you're going to have to, basically demonstrate that you understand all of the theory concepts, on this multiple choice exam, depending on which state you're in. Take that time out for like 1 to 2 hours after class, or even if you really don't have time, I would just say half an hour to an hour, just to make sure that you understand what was covered from the day's lecture, and that if you have any questions, you can always email your instructor off hours. I hope this gives you some insights on how to properly prepare for distance learning, whether you've been out of school for how many years, or maybe you dropped out of another program to start this program. You know what? What matters is that you're here to learn, and this is the time for you to really make things happen for yourself, and just basically have fun with school. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe. I'll be coming out with more material on how to succeed while in aesthetic school and once you graduate too.